This meeting to order. We have a quorum. 1.3 meeting announcement. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. I will now identify closed session topics. Public assignment, reassignment, appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaints, conference with labor negotiators, conference with legal counsel, existing lit, anticipated lit, public employee performance evaluation. Public comment, general public comment on any closed session item will be heard at this time pursuant to board policy. The board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comment by stating your name. There is no public comment, so we'll adjourn to closed session. We will now convene the regular session. 3.2, introduce the interpreter. Gus Mora will serve as Spanish interpreter for this meeting. Meeting attendees who would like to listen to the Spanish interpretation of the meeting, please pick up your headphones from the table located in the back of this room. The announcement will now be shared in Spanish.
Gus Mora servirá como intérprete en español para esta reunión. Invitamos a los asistentes de la reunión que deseen escuchar la interpretación al español, el ir por audífonos a la mesa ubicada al fondo de esta sala de reuniones.
Thank you. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording of the webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Members of the public wanting to provide public comment on items listed on tonight's agenda, we recommend you fill out the public comment form, green form located in the table at the back of this room. Please hand the completed form to Delia Smart, board manager, before the item comes up on the agenda. We recommend you complete a separate form for each agenda item you'd like to comment on. Ms. Smart is sitting at the table in the back of the room. Members of the public providing public comment, please use the microphone on the stand located in the front of the room. Pledge of Allegiance, Board Member Belt.
You please stand with me as we recite Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3.5, I'd like to report action taken in closed session on a motion by Board Member Odo and a second by Board Member Naylor. The board agreed unanimously to appoint Nels Burgess to the position of principal of Creekside Community Day School. Nels Burgess has been employed with Visalia Unified School District for a total of 11 years. Mr. Burgess has served as learning director at Creekside Community School for the past year. He started his career with USD as an English teacher at Sequoia High School, where he taught for 10 years. Mr. Burgess earned a Bachelor of Arts in English and a Master's of Arts in Educational Leadership and Administration from California State University, Fresno. Mr. Burgess holds a single subject teaching credential and an administrative service credentials. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations, Mr. Burgess. In closed session on a motion by Board Member Belt and a second by Board Member K-Spear-Soleno, the board on a vote of 6 with 1 absent is appointing Luis Espinoza to the point of Director of Transportation. There, okay. Luis Espinoza has served as Administrator of Transportation and Operations in Tulare City School District for the last 5 years. Prior to his employment with Tulare City School District, Mr. Espinoza served as Kern County Superintendent of Schools at the School Bus Driver Instructor 2 for a year and Delano Unified School District as a School bus driver instructor for 3 years. Mr. Espinoza also served as a driver at Delano Association for Developmentally Disabled Adults for 6 years. Mr. Espinoza holds a Department of Education Office of the School Transportation Bus Driver Instructor Certificate and a Transportation Administrator Course Certificate. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations, Mr. Espinoza. 3.6 items, revisions to items enclosure and adopt the board agenda. The following items have been revised: 4.1, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9, 9.1, 9.5. May I have a motion to adopt the board meeting agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, on a motion by Board Member Case Beer Soleno, second by Board Member Villegas. All in favor? Come on.
Motion passes unanimously.
4.1, 23-24 back to school update, best first day ever. Superintendent Kirk Schrum.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, board members and public. We're very excited, of course, in just 2 more sleeps, as people say, I guess that's if I'm counting right. We welcome all of our students back to school. Very excited, those students that are returning, plus, our new students that are either new to the system or new to school for the first time, coming into TK or pre-K or even kindergarten or first grade. So excited about Thursday. And our district has been preparing, of course, before this past school year even ended for this time. And excited to share some of those highlights and reminders tonight as we gear up for that day. And it was so exciting yesterday. Of course, our teachers are now back and we are ready to do what we do. Want to start, of course, core belief and commitments as we talk about. One of the main things here is, if you notice, that under all students can achieve at high levels, demonstrate continuous growth, engage students and staff with educational tools necessary for achievement and growth. And so that's what leading up to the best first day ever has been focused on, preparing our staff and our students to be successful when they come back to school this week. Our role of the district is to set the conditions for our students and staff to be successful. And I want to point out something that's very important here. This past school year, our Board of Education unanimously approved what we call our theory of action, or our commitment for student learning. It is now policy. And within that policy, the board has spelled out that empowering teachers and staff through professional learning communities to make instructional decisions within established guidelines to meet the different needs of each student. And in order to achieve student success, the board recognizes that our district must have a high quality, professionally trained workforce. Last week, this week, work over the course of the summer was all focused on this commitment for student learning, and our actions and how we designed training and preparation and professional development all goes back to our board's policy that is spelled out in our commitment for student learning. So very proud to see this policy come to life within our back to school work and preparation. So to start with equipping our students. So this is just one example of several things that happened over the summer. We had groups of students involved really all throughout the summer, helping prepare them to be successful. Had an opportunity last week to go visit all of our middle school web leaders. These are where we belong, where everybody belongs. These are student leaders, about 350 of them. We're all at Sequoia High School gym. That was very exciting. 350 middle schoolers in one location, all had different color shirts, right, to represent their feeder patterns, networking with each other and talking about, developing those leadership skills. And one of the things that I challenge them to do as leaders on their campus is how powerful it would be if every day each one of them went up to a student they didn't know and said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm a web leader. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you're a student here," right? And then that person goes and does that, and how that will change culture of campuses. And so very proud of our student leaders and our team developing them. It was a lot of fun. They made me do a little dance. Hopefully it's not on a recording anywhere. Also moving on to our certificated professional development and classify, talk a little bit about that. Again, this summer, retraining our teachers, training for the first time, our partnership with Solution Tree to develop our professional learning communities. Very excited about that focus. New Teacher Week, over 170 new teachers. And keep in mind, we have a lot of new positions this year that we'll talk about as we get down to a later slide. English language development, teachers supporting and learning new skills and strategies. Our counselors, we have 6 new counselors plus 67 engaged in training yesterday. Brand new position because of this board and their commitment to student learning. Instructional coaches at every single one of our schools receive training with Learning Forward. That's still ongoing. I think they have one more day of that, of coaching techniques, what it means to be an effective coach. You know, if you've been a teacher, working with students is one thing, but now when you work with adults, it's a whole nother different, it's a different skill set. And so making sure they're equipped to go and really contribute to advancing instruction in our classrooms. Our PE teachers, I think we have a picture up there of them. I got to pop in and see them. And of course, adding that now, our TK kindergarten, first and second grade students will have PE twice a week. And so that team was energized. They were doing, get to know you routines. And that's something that we have not had as an offering in Visalia Unified in many, many years. And while Prop 28, I always mix up the numbers. While Prop 28 helped us with the arts, this board made a commitment that we're also going to expand physical education, because that was not part of that original grant, but it was so important to this board that we provide all of these opportunities for our students that we were able to make that happen. We had teachers attending AVID training. And then of course, I already mentioned our PLCs, over 650 teachers trained this summer. And of course, that is ongoing. When it comes to our classified professional development, amazing convocation day yesterday. We had about 1,000 classified staff join us. Those that were both on grid, as we say here. In other words, it was one of their work days, plus many others that came and maybe hadn't reported to work yet and came to participate in that day of professional development, centered around customer service, communication, collaboration, gathering data, mindfulness. That was a very popular session that a lot of folks attended. And this is one of the first times we've intentionally done training like this. And so I think our classified staff felt valued. Because we certainly value them, but we also need to invest and pour into their skill sets. And so we were pleased to do that, and also thankful for this board, because to make that happen, we wanted to make sure every classified employee was able to attend. And a lot of times when there's training, not everyone can attend because they provide some critical functions. And so we were, closed our offices. I know that might have been a minor inconvenience to some individuals, but I think at the end of the day, training and pouring into our team was what was most important. And so I appreciate our board's opportunity to let us close our district offices so that all those people that sometimes don't get to go to these trainings were able to go and spend the day with their colleagues. They had some food trucks and other things. So I think it was a great day. And then of course, professionally, continuing to train our principals. Leadership Institute held this summer. We have 9 new principals, 10 new assistant principals, and of course, wanted to make sure they learn not only laws and legal things and how to be effective in their role, but also what it means to lead in Visalia Unified. And so training over the course of the summer for them. And so our staff, our teams, our teachers, our professionals, our classified certificated staff are all ready to welcome our over 30,000 students all the way from pre-K through adult back to our campuses on Thursday. And so a couple of things that we just want to give a quick reminders about to families. We have communication. You might have noticed there's messages going out every day, not only through social media, but through school messenger. So all our I think I used the wrong term, but our messaging system, our email for parents. And so all of that about daily reminders. Here's what you need to do to be ready. And we wanted to capture, we have a video going out tomorrow, just again, as a final reminder. We had a press conference, Times Delta carried a little bit of that in the paper today. And so really just wanting to get the information out. But the main pieces are this: update your information in PowerSchool. That's how we communicate with you. When you receive messages, it's because we have your updated information. So everyone needs to make sure they've done that. Come ready to learn. We have a Family Community Resource Center if you need extra support, but if you don't have something, that's okay. Come, we're going to supply that for you. Be on time, be out there early for the bus. If you're a car rider or walking to school on the first day, give yourself extra time. A lot of people come to the school campuses on that first day, and so there's going to be more traffic than normal. It's been a couple of months since we had all the cars on the roads, and so just be patient. Let this be an amazing experience. and an amazing start. It's going to take a while. You're going to be sitting in traffic. Take a deep breath, prepare yourself for that, and don't let that be a barrier to this being a successful day. A lot of people want to walk their kids into class, and so we want to make sure we give that opportunity, but with that comes congestion, traffic, and other things. So just be mindful of that. No need to honk horns, right? So watch for that traffic, watch for students walking to school. Also very pleased, we have over 1,200 or so, if not higher, number of volunteers already. We have modernized that system. And so in the past, to be a volunteer, families had to fill out lots of different paperwork, different sites, all of that. Now we have a one-stop shop, and that they fill it out once. In fact, a lot of families that had already completed that, we were able to roll into the system. So very proud of that advancement. We're going to continue to focus on safety, creating safe, secure learning environments. All of that, we detailed a lot of that in our press conference. And so I didn't want to go back into detail for all of this. So I really just want to say to our families, to our students, we are ready for you. We are excited to welcome you back. I was excited to see all of our teachers. We had a great kickoff yesterday, a lot of excitement and a lot of energy, because at the end of the day, we're a school system and it's our job to make sure students are learning. And we're ready to get back to that on Thursday. So Madam President, that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any board comments or questions?
I will shout out to the Ridgeview, are they link crew or no?
Middle school's web.
Web. My kids were there for their 7th grade orientation and they said they did a fabulous job. And that's hard for 8th graders to be leading just a group 1 year younger than them. But I know they did a fabulous job.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Shrum.
Thank you.
Item 5, general public comment. General public comment on any school-related topic may be heard at this time. The board asks that any public comment on an item listed on tonight's agenda be addressed at that time the item comes up for discussion by the board. To comply with the Brown Act, California's open public meeting law, board discussion is limited on items on the agenda. Therefore, when receiving public comments on items not on the agenda, the board's role is limited to receiving such comments, and the board may not engage in dialogue with the public. The board thanks the public for its participation in public comment and understanding of the board's responsibility. Pursuant to board policy, the board limits individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. And we have one public comment. Ms. Valerie Goodell.
Goodall.
Goodall.
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Shrum, and members of the board. My name is Valerie Goodall. I am a former USD employee as I served as an elementary teacher from 2013 to 2021. This past school year, my son attended Shannon Ranch on an outplacement transfer in October of 2022 for kindergarten. It saddens me to inform you that my son received 5 suspensions within 25 school days. Within a month of starting at a new school, my son was already being suspended at the age of 5. Realizing that this course of action taken by both principal and vice principal was exclusionary, punitive, and unsustainable, we hired a special needs advocate and involved district personnel to assist us in our meetings. Although our son did not qualify for an IEP, the thorough evaluation of a third-party medical practitioner determined that our son was eligible for accommodations through a 504. It is imperative that VUSD recognize that suspensions in and of themselves are ineffective and are the opposite of restorative practice. When the response to misbehavior is immediate suspension without considering alternative courses of action and complete disregard to a child's age and development and possible underlying medical conditions, I question the qualifications of site leadership and their approach to student discipline that are reflective of this district. I urge you to closely examine disciplinary practices at school sites as I ask you these essential questions. What will VUSD do to provide alternative disciplinary measures for students as to promote significance and belonging? How will site administrators be held accountable to ensure that they are following district protocols with integrity? What disciplinary measures will be taken when site administrators are operating against district initiatives and policies? Mr. Shrum, I listened to the May 23rd board meeting where you stated, and I quote, One of the things we've been most reflective about is listening to the voices because it's through those voices we learn what we can do better. End of quote. In response to hearing teacher feedback, you continue to add, and I quote, "We've heard your voice, but also know that's not enough to just hear the voice right now. What are we going to do about what we heard?" End of quote. As a parent, I would like to know what the district will now do that they've heard our family's voice. In closing, due to our family's experience, we have chosen to remove our child from VUSD schools. We hope that the district will make necessary changes in regarding to disciplinary practices to support its belief that every student belongs in VUSD. Our words must be supported by action. We must tread carefully in how we choose to respond to students, as this can adversely affect the trajectory of their futures and compromise the level of trust families have for VUSD. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. There's no more public comment, so I will move on to the consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull any item from the consent agenda? May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right. On a motion by Board Member Belt, second by Board Member Odo, all in favor? Okay, come on, Walter. Okay,
Motion passes unanimously.
on to board member reports. Board Member Belt.
Thank you, President Gamoyan. The greatest observation I've had in the last couple of weeks is the massive logistics and updating and preparation for school. And I want to applaud all of our staff for everything from air conditioners that aren't working to risers being installed in never before used fourth grade classrooms for choir. It is just, it goes on and on and on. And I applaud all the teachers who are, many are going to have to make some flexibleness as a new motto for the next few weeks as things do get worked out, but that there is a place and an opportunity for every student at Visalia Unified to really not only have the best first day, but to actually have their brains growing. It's not just about making tests. It's not just about having high scores. It's about literally learning how to learn. And I'm excited about that. I also, the orientation that I went to at Valley Oak last week impressed me because it was far more than just seventh graders or newly enrolled eighth graders. Parents had an orientation at Valley Oak, and it was absolutely phenomenal to see that many parents show up. Again, a logistics nightmare. The line went clear down the street for the parents. But they all waited very patiently. The staff of Valley Oak gave them a very thorough understanding of what they expect and what's supposed to happen, not only on the first day, but throughout the whole school year. And so those students have a better chance. Matter of fact, I will continue to pound the drum that I heard the principal so well state. Parents, it's to the degree that we have you involved with our students, your students, that will make sure the difference of how successful they really are. And he continued. I just was overwhelmed with that because that's what I continue to believe very strongly. And the last thing, yesterday's convocation, I've never seen anything like it, where all over the district, we were having everyone come up to speed. It wasn't to have everyone be of one mind. It was actually to have everyone understand like-mindedness for all of our policies, from discipline to how to make sure they get enrolled correctly, to literally having the details of understanding that every teacher has a support one another. And they were doing that. They actually were putting it into practice yesterday afternoon and all day yesterday. And the classified employees did everything from communication to practice of how to get along with each other, how to actually engage each other. And so I applaud that we have done everything we possibly can to make the beginning of this year as successful as possible. Thank you, Mr. Shrum, and all of our staff for taking and making that effort.
Thank you. Board Member Villegas.
Thank you, President Gaboyan. I also want to echo Board Member Bell's comments. I think I'm very grateful. I think there's this myth that, teachers and staff all have a summer off, when all summer we've seen, coaches working with student athletes. We've seen our groundskeepers keeping our facilities nice and clean, ready for all of our students to return. We've seen teachers working over the summer, either teaching summer school or, just making sure they're prepared for the fall. So very grateful to all of our staff, making sure we're putting in work, making sure that our students are going to have a best first day ever. I did want to bring one more thing up, which is unfortunately over the last month or so, the Sun Gazette has reported that there have been several flyers for white supremacist groups and a call to action in Visalia, California being distributed. And to me, and the reason I bring this up is because I think it really emphasizes the need for ethnic studies in our school, right? We learn about how to appreciate other cultures, how to appreciate the struggles that, groups have gone through to earn civil liberties, civil rights, equal treatment in this beautiful country. And so I hope that's something we can examine. I know very happily that we offer ethnic studies at each one of our high schools. I would love to see an expansion of that to, make that a graduation requirement for our students. So all of our students know how to combat racism with anti-racism. How do our students know how to recognize, the value that we all see in one another, and the really importantness, the urgency and the strength of diversity in our community. So I wanted to raise that, and I hope we can have continued conversations in the future around what ethnic studies can look like as a requirement for all of our students here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Casper Soleno,
No board report.
Board Member Odo.
Yeah, I'll just echo a little bit of what's already been said. Want to welcome all staff back. Hope you had a great summer, and I know we're ready based on what I've heard and what I've seen around the community and in schools. The first day of school is a special thing. Often it's the best day of the year, and I just want to wish everyone the best of luck and the best of outcomes this year. Kids, staff, leadership, everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Board Member Naylor.
I was going to say the same thing. I just want to welcome staff and students back from a long summer, and just so excited to see what you've done. I see cars at schools, last week and the week before, getting ready, getting your classes ready. Really appreciate all the time and effort that you give to ensure that our students have that best first day and their entire year. So thank you. And I'm excited to see what you do this year.
Thank you. Board Clerk KB.
Yes, definitely echo that. Very excited for school to start. I'm very excited for my kids to go back. I think I've said that every time. But really, also, I'm so excited about our TK and third grade starting to have art and music this year. And I know that that's had to have been a huge undertaking for everything from HR hiring to, site admin. Where are we going to put them and in what room? And, what happens if it's hot out on PE? And there's just so much logistics that goes into it, but it's so good for kids. So just thank you to everyone. And, thank you to teachers that day. I know that day is long. I mean, these are fourth graders that are now also, or 4-year-olds that are now also going to go to PE and music. And we know that, with that comes some extra fun. So bring some slippers by the end of the day because your feet will hurt and all that. But thanks for everybody, just putting kids first and really providing them with this opportunity. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you. I would just like to thank all the teachers that have been working. My next door neighbor is a teacher in our district, and we talk as we put our garbage cans out, and she's been in her classroom the last 2 weeks. Thank you for air conditioning, Mr. Kerr. And so, yeah, and just what I saw yesterday was really amazing. I just want to really thank staff for putting that all together, all the principals that work hard to present, and that PLCs are really important to this district, and that our teachers had a chance to meet and collaborate and to get ready for the school year. So it was a really wonderful day to walk around and see all our teachers. Mr. Shrum.
All right. Well, again, just excited about the start of school. Remember to pack the patience, all of those good things, and we'll have a great first day. and looking forward to seeing the learning, the growth that will occur with all of our students as we go through this year. If a family has any questions, couple of things I forgot to mention, you can always reach out to the school, call the school, visit the school, call us here. We'll make sure your call gets directed to the right place. Visit the website. We've updated our website. It has a lot of back to school information, a new website look and design. So we're excited about that. That was one of the things the board and community said they wanted to see. And so all of those are sources of information. And then also our Family and Community Resource Center, located downtown, has supplies and things for families that may need to make, extra help accessing school. And so definitely don't hesitate to reach out if you're a family and you have either a need or a question, because we want to make sure you're ready to start on Thursday.
Thank you. 9.1, 2023-24 45-day budget revision update. Chief Financial Officer Hernandez.
Good evening, President Gamoyen, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. The item that we have tonight for you is our 45-day budget revision. So each year after the state adopts the budget, we have to bring back a report to the board within 45 days. That report was actually on the consent agenda item where you approved the actual budget transactions, the revisions that are part of the 45-day. This item is an information item to share what was some of the items that were included there, but also to talk about some of the things that were not included because we didn't have allocations from the state yet. So again, our core beliefs, our budget is about providing the financial resources that make these things possible, particularly equipping our students and our staff with the resources that they need to be successful this year, along with our new priorities. Our agenda, again, is just to talk about that state budget update and how it impacts the district's budget and some of the things that are coming and what their potential impact is for district. In our timeline, we are right here. 45-day revision. We'll be back in September where we will bring our unaudited actuals report on last year as we're closing out the books on last year. And then we'll come back in December with our first interim report, which is kind of another look after all of these adjustments have been made to our budget from the state budget process. So there are really three central themes around the budget adoption this year. The first, as we all know, the state pushed back the timeline for tax returns for personal and corporate income taxes to December. So we don't have a clear picture of what the state revenues were for last year yet. The second was, the state's really focus on funding the COLA, the 8.22% COLA. And the third is really how they did that. And that was by cutting some one-time programs and some one-time grants that were allocated in the prior fiscal year to kind of fill that budget hole. And so again, a lot of things kind of in the air until those tax returns are known. But that's the information that we have now. And of course, the state has reserves through Proposition 98 to fill any back holes should that come when we get final numbers in December. Oh, there's a lot here. So it won't go through all of this, but as I talked about, the big thing for the state was the 8.22% COLA and funding that. There were not any real new programs added for this year. One of the adjustments that was in that budget revision was to our local control funding formula. And it was 1.3 million, sounds like a lot, but it's less than 1% of our total LCFF. And so that's just some slight adjustments in those funding levels. The two block grants that were reduced as part of the state budget was the Arts and Music Instructional Materials Block Grant and the Learning Recovery Block Grant. The arts block grant is about close to $1 million reduction for the district. Again, we haven't spent all of those funds. We just, so the total will be about 16.3 million. We've spent about 3 or 4. So we will still have available funds for that block grant. And then the Learning Recovery Block Grant, we haven't spent any of those dollars. That had a larger reduction. It's about $6 million reduction. And so we have about $37 million remaining of that block grant. And that's what's going to carry us through these next 2 years as we kind of finish up with spending our one-time federal funds as well as these dollars. That's a fly. Sorry, someone was touching me. So a couple of these other items, the LCFF equity multiplier That was a new item. There were some changes in how those allocations are being done. We don't have those allocations yet from the state. So again, that will be something that will be released later. And then Proposition 28, we're still waiting on actual allocations as the state does some cleanup to that. School Services puts out a financial projection dartboard, and we look at that as we do our planning for the out year. And so when we present our next budget, we'll be showing you a multi-year projection that will show some of these things. I just wanted to point out the cost of living adjustments that are projected going forward are in that 3% range. So this year was 8.22%. So probably last year that we'll see a cost of living adjustment from the state in that range. The next couple of years will be lower, and when we bring those reports back to the board, we'll share what that means for our district. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Hernandez, I would just like to thank you for your prudence.
Thank you.
Right, 9.2. I'm going to open a public hearing to approve the resolution to convey easement at Lovers Lane and Caldwell to the city of Visalia. Chief Operations Officer Kara.
Good evening, President Gamoy, Superintendent Shrum, members of the board. If you recall, last board meeting, we brought a resolution forward for our intent to convey this piece of property. It's a strip of land along Lovers Lane and Caldwell for the city to widen the road. This is the second part of the process. We've met the statutorily required timeframe to accept public comment or any other comments, which we've received none. And so the next step is to bring another resolution to you to finalize this process where we will actually convey the property to the city. And so that's the purpose of bringing it forward today. It is for approval.
Is there any public comment? I'm going to close the hearing. Board comment or questions?
I motion to approve.
Second. On a motion by Board Member Case-Beer Soleno and a second by Board Member Naylor, all in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Skipping something here. Nope. 9.3, notice of intent to employ certificated personnel and approval of variable term waiver requests for English teachers.
Thank you very much. Board President Gamoy, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum, bringing before you a couple of different items this evening, requesting the board's approval to move forward for a specific teacher that we have who is needing that additional time to become intern eligible.
I motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so the motion to approve the variable term waiver request for English teacher was made by Board Member Case-Beer Soleno, second by Naylor. Board Member Naylor, all in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
9.4, notice of intent to employ certificated personnel approval of variable term waiver request for bilingual cross-cultural language and academic development. Assistant Superintendent Dylan.
Yes, once again, requesting the board's approval. You hear these acronyms tossed around, BCLAD, so that's what BCLAD stands for.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. A little information, education along the way. Requesting your approval to move forward for another teacher that we have continuing to work towards that authorization.
May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll
second.
Okay. Motion to approve the variable term request for bilingual cross-cultural language and academic development was made by Board Member Case-Beer Soleno, second, Board Member Naylor, second by Case-Beer Soleno, all in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
9.5, notice of intent to employ certificated personnel, approval of provisional internship permit request, Assistant Superintendent Dylan.
Yes, again, requesting the board's authorization. Another little fun fact, this is another acronym. So this is what we refer to as a PIP. So provisional internship permit. We have 4 teachers requesting the board's authority to move forward and provide that additional time as they work towards those requirements.
May I have a motion to approve the provisional internship permit request.
Motion.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Villegas.
Okay, so I'm going to say on a motion by Board Member Villegas, second by Board Member Case Selena, all in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Going to open a public hearing for revision of Board Policy 6158, independent study. Chief Business Officer Hernandez.
Good evening again. So this last item is a request to amend Board Policy 6158. This is our independent study board policy.
What's over there? Oh.
It's our independent study board policy. And the changes that we're requesting to the policy are related to the Royal Oaks Virtual Learning Program. So there's several changes actually to the policy. There's one section that is just the changes for Royal Oaks, and it's how they do their attendance and their grading and their expectations that are included in their master agreement. And so this policy aligns that the board policy with how their agreements state. There's also several changes to the policy that bring back some history into the policy, changes that were made for 21-22 and 22-23, just to keep some of that history within the policy and document how we've moved forward over the last 3 years. So a lot of the changes were related to that. And then a small section just related to the Royal Oaks program.
Is there any public comment? I'm going to close the public hearing. Any board comment or questions? May I have a motion to approve the revision to Board Policy 6158, independent study?
Motion to approve. I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Naylor, second by Case Soleno, all in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
This meeting is adjourned.